Did Zohran Mamdani's Democratic Party primary win in the New York City mayoral race spark something even bigger? The activist group Run for Something says his surprise victory has led to a huge increase in the number of people now looking to run for office, with more than 10,000 people raising their hands in the 2 weeks after. That's more than they got in the first 3 years of President Trump's first term. Joining me now, NBC's Julie Sirkin from Capitol Hill and the co-founder and president of that group, Run for Something, Amanda Littman. So, Amanda, 10,000 is a pretty mind-boggling number. Who are these folks and what's motivating them?
These are 10,000 people joining the more than 60,000 who've signed up with us since Trump's election from all across the country. Mostly young people 40 and under thinking about running for things like state house, state senate, city council, school board, the real building blocks of democracy. And they're not really or all ideologically aligned necessarily. They have strong values and they're ready to put voters first, but they're ready to tackle things that their communities care about. The number one issue we're hearing people talk about wanting to run for this year in particular is housing. The other thing I would say we're really hearing folks say this year more so than any other year prior is that they are done waiting their turn. They are sick of seeing Democrats who aren't going to fight for us. They're sick of being told back of the line. They're jumping in themselves.
Well, your group works specifically, right, with Gen Z and millennials when people, I don't need to tell you this, 65 and older are the most consistently dependable voters. So one of the things, and I've watched these folks who run, who are young, and they do get questions all the time, as you know, about their age and their experience. How do they answer that?
You know, what we've heard from our candidates is, maybe surprisingly, the folks most excited about their campaigns are often older voters who feel it's really inspiring and hopeful to see someone young willing to fight for the future. But especially when you're running for local office, things like state house or state senate, that's where you get the local governing experience that helps you run for higher office. Remember, Zohran Mamdani got his start in the state legislature before he ran for mayor. These positions are the real building blocks. Their lived experience makes them honestly better candidates for these positions.
Yeah, I should let people know your group, one of the things it does is help potential candidates understand what's involved in running, offering training, right? I've been at those sessions. I'm curious about what you've learned about what works. Are there lessons from Mamdani that might be more widely useful?
Absolutely. You know, the best candidates are ones that can really lead with their values, can listen to what their voters care about, can learn. We often say the best candidates listen more than they talk, and who can communicate in a way where they can show up where people are. You know, I think this is one of the things where the generational divide really comes in. We don't have to teach our millennial and Gen Z candidates how to use social media, how to make videos on their phone, how to be online and still be themselves, because they've been doing it their entire lives.
So, Julie, you spoke with Michigan Democratic Senator Elissa Slotkin after a town hall about her thoughts on the issues within the party and specifically what Democrats can learn from Mamdani's win. What stood out to you from your conversation with her?
Well, she told me back in November when she was running for Senate on her campaign bus that she feels like Democrats, that Democratic leaders do not play offense, that they do not have a plan. And certainly that is a message she echoed last night, Chris, at a town hall that I should mention that was in a Republican-held district. And when you talk about young voters, when I looked around the room, it was filled with seniors, with older people. And that is something Slotkin noticed, too, as she made her message that the economy is the most important issue for young people, that young people want Democrats who take on Trump, that this is not an issue of progressive versus moderate. This is an issue of Democrats who either think Trump is an existential threat or don't. I did point out the fact that she didn't have young people attending her only town hall of the August recess. And I also asked her what the message that should send in Mamdani's case in New York. Take a listen.
They want to see a new generation of leadership. I mean, I'm 49 years old, so I'm a good deal older than a lot of our youngest voters. And I'm like the spring chicken in the Senate. So they don't see themselves in elected leadership. And that's why some of the youngest members of elected leadership get a ton of energy and enthusiasm around them because it's like, oh, that person understands my issues. They, voted with their feet on this election. So I may not agree with a number of things that Mr. Mamdani is proposing, but it's hard to miss the message of that election, which I think was very similar, frankly, to the election we had in November. Cost of living is still the biggest issue for people that I talk to.
Now, Slotkin kept saying that Mamdani's win in New York, you could see that she's not entirely supportive of him. And she did say that he lost to somebody, or he beat somebody who had more experience. So she's saying that voters here are choosing somebody who's young, who's energetic, who voters can see themselves in, rather than people who even have more experience. And I did tell her, you know, people up here, the most prominent Democratic leaders, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, have yet to endorse Mamdani. And I think that is really the divide that we're seeing here play out in real time, and certainly Slotkin is aware of that.
Julie Sirkin, Amanda Littman, thank you.